Welcome to Fortnite Pro Tips and Tricks. Did you know that you can get loot from chests by breaking floors under them? Not only will you get the loot, but you will also receive small amounts of material. You will also get some resources from small objects like furniture that was destroyed with the floor. Sure, the floors and furniture is not the loot that you were looking for, but additional materials will never hurt. You can always find chests by following its unique sound. If you hear it above you, just destroy whatever it's standing on and let the loot fall to you. Now, let's look at some settings that will make your life a little bit easier. First, auto open doors. Turning this setting on will give you a real advantage for sure. It'll make your early game much more convenient, as it will automatically open doors in buildings as the name suggests, as well as doors that you or other players built. The second setting is Confirm Edit on release. Turning this setting on will allow you to edit structures more efficiently. Instead of pressing edit once and selecting tiles that you want to edit and pressing the edit button again, you will only need to press the button once. Hold while editing and release when done. Once you get used to it, your structure edits will be lightning fast. Today we have a few aiming and shooting tips for you. The first one, always use shotguns or SMGs in close range. After all, there is nothing better than a fully charged shotgun one-shotting your enemy. Try to charge it while moving and aim for the upper parts of the body. Second, practice right side peeking. Because of the way our character holds weapons to the right, peeking from this side allows you to shoot with minimal exposure to your model. There is even a spot where you can shoot and your opponent can't hit you. The third tip is to try to avoid using shotguns and SMGs on medium range, as they are virtually impossible to use on longer distances. For this, your best bet is to stick with assault or bolt action rifles. The next tip will focus on headshots versus body shots. You should go for headshots only if you don't have an automatic rifle and or the target is stationary. Otherwise, go for the body shots. The body model is much bigger, therefore much easier to hit, especially if the target is moving. Lastly, do not spray on long distances. Accuracy beyond the first few shots becomes pretty much non-existent, so try to tap shots one by one to remain accurate. One of the most important tips that we can give you is to practice your loot routes. A key to getting ahead early as possible is to master your looting and gathering. If you are a competitive player, for example, that wants to win a lot, then you really need to practice your loot route. The best way to do it is to hop into battle labs and start simulating the early game. Select the place that you want to land and start practicing. Then you'll find and remember where the loot chests are, and where you can get more material. For this, I've selected Frenzy Farms as an example. I like to land here and get some early action in, so I decided to practice my loot route. As you saw, I picked where I wanted to land and set myself on a quest to find a few chests and get them as fast as possible. When I learned where the first few chests are, I needed to repeat the route a few more times to get as much gear as fast as possible. I land a few more times in the same place, and go for all chests trying to do it a little faster than before. This way I can improve my route each time I land. Now that I am confident in my ability to execute this small loot route, I decided to go for a real game and test my ability to get ahead early. I marked my landing spot and was lucky enough to drop right where I wanted. I got my first, second, and third chest fast enough and got some decent gear out of it. Nothing spectacular, but it was enough to go outside and fight. I was looking for some action, and there was plenty of it. There were a lot of situations like this previously, when I was not geared enough to take these fights, because I was too slow and didn't know where the chests were. This time, I was ready for the fight. Practicing loot routes not only will help you get ahead early, but it will also allow you to learn this part of the map so well that you will eliminate anyone who decides to land near you. Take your time to practice at least a few rounds, and I guarantee you, you won't regret it. Duels in Fortnite are won not only by good aim, but also by playing around covers. You can always use enemy cover against themselves. In this clip, I was lucky that someone else destroyed the haystack, which allowed me to get an easy kill. If the enemy builds cover for themselves, strike when they least expect it, and try not to rush if you have a rifle. Usually, players will build ramps or towers for themselves. You can destroy them by breaking the lower parts of it. Doing this will result in the whole structure collapsing, and most likely, the player will fall down and take damage. Wooden ones are especially easy to destroy. If you find the right moment, you can even try to destroy it with your pickaxe. It will be faster, but also riskier. For some reason, many players don't do it. It will take just a few seconds to destroy the bottom parts of the structures and may potentially result in getting easy frags. If you see a tall tower, ramp, or any tall structure and suspect that players are inside, take a second to find the weakest part of their building and shoot it down. Players won't be ready and will likely take damage or even die. This may sound silly, but hear me out. To this day, building from wood in the late game is still one of the most common mistakes that players make. I still see it every day. Building from wood may be useful and fast in the early game, but later it won't do the trick. A simple wooden box will only save you for a few seconds. And it's good, but not ideal. Building from wood may signal your enemies to push you, since wooden structures can only have up to 150 health. This means it will only take a few shots from an epic weapon to destroy it. Brick structures can have a maximum of 300 health, and it will take significantly more shots to break. Metal ones have 500 health and are practically impossible to shoot down. The important thing to remember is that they take time to fully build, so you may have an opportunity to shoot walls before they are built. So if you need to heal or want to make yourself a little more space, build from brick or metal. This feature can save your life and will help you win rounds. Here is the perfect example of using building to win a crucial fight in the late game. Brick structures are being used to block shots and hide movement, paired with my terrible aim, and it was enough for my opponent to win. And yeah, I definitely won that game. Don't question it. Most players know perfectly well that building and shooting are key. While plenty of players devote time to practicing their aim, tracking, building, and editing, not a lot of players focus on other areas. Rotation is actually a really important factor in your strategy for games. If it is something that you've been neglecting, then this might be where you can improve. If you want to improve more in Fortnite, you've got to work on every area. This includes building and shooting, but also rotation. Rotation in Fortnite concerns loot. However, you really shouldn't need more than landing spots to sort out this section. Your rotation has to be able to lead you to other players so that you can get more kills. Rotation is determined by the bus route as well as by the storm. By the time you're looted up, you should have a good idea of the first circle. Once you know the first circle, you can make some good guesses about where to rotate for late game. Players often get caught by the storm because they loot or fight too much. Rotation in late game is very situational. I like to move with the storm because there is a very small chance that someone is going to run out of it. The storm in the late game does a lot of damage, and all the players are inside of the circle anyway, so all you've left to do is stay in the circle. This is really quite simple compared with the rest of the game, but really, just head to the circle, and move when you're sure it's safe.